stream are conversations about sales, and you'll see agents coming in and out of this as we are still doing business on the floor. So we'll never, ever, ever stop making money for the sake of just having a conversation. But for now, we just wanted to start on open topics. What you're going to see here is you're going to see some open topics coming up. We don't really come into these with an agenda, and we're just going to talk sales. That's it. So here we go. So who wants to start today?
I got something hot coming off the bat here.
You got some hot?
Something real hot.
Let's go.
I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but the mindset that people think they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
It is the number one thing that ruins people in this career.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens is you get somebody who gets so hot for 2 weeks, everything they touch turns to gold. And what they want to do is just cut corners.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can see, oh, I can do 5 or 6 a day. Well, if I cut my talk time down, I could do 10 a day. I could do 10. It is not the same. And it's that mentality kills so many people in this industry. It's not even laughable. It's sad at this point. Because you have good talent that think that once they get hot, oh, this is pretty easy. Let me just cut some corners. Let me stop what I'm doing that's obviously working to get some more policies. And then what happens is you get a rut.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, since you don't know what you're really doing, you're making a false causality argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think that this one thing is the real secret, but you now just cut out what really was working because you just don't have the experience yet and you haven't A/B tested it.
Yeah, or you might take a line and it worked twice and you say, that's it. I'm just going to use that from now on. You never know. But that's what in this industry and doing this too, that's just what I can see. It's the people who get hot and then think their shit don't stink.
Mm-hmm. And now you've happened upon the secret of how we have so many BS, one-liner, objection overcoming statements, and closes.
Mm-hmm.
Whole thing. I did it once or twice. This must be the thing. Let me go ahead and preach on it. And then other people fall into that trap. And we have a whole bunch of people doing a bunch of crap that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't gimmicks. Human interactions aren't gimmicks. That's it. All right. You're exactly right. So this is going to be more of a, just for edification gear, guys. Jacob Crotty is one of the top in the industry, not only in Medicare supplement and Advantage Plan sales, but he's also one of the best trainers in the industry. And that is the same case for Stephen Grip right here. So this is actually a really unique opportunity to just have us in the room right now. That might change as we go on, and there's no better time to talk about these kind of topics and training and bringing up agents and building a team than right now. So I think that's a great topic.
I think it's something that really, really needs to be addressed. And everybody has their own style to it. And I think all of us are very familiar in this kind of system that we're working with right now. If I do not see you on the phone for at least an hour before you transfer it over, I don't even want to touch it.
But you still do.
Yeah, I still do. But,
but
to prove a point, yes, because then it's basically, okay, let me get your contact information. Okay, let me get your doctors. Okay, let me get your medications. All right, this is what I recommend for you. Take it or leave it. They're going to leave it every time.
Right.
There's no connection to it. If you want to rush through everything you do in your life, you're going to get a few sales, but you're not going to get every sale that you could have because you did not take the time to stop and realize this is my opportunity. I have a live human being on the phone right now and have all their doctors and medications. They're not going to add anything on down the road. There's no frills, no surprises. I need to go as slow as possible and take every advantage I have with this person where you don't even have to hard close. It's a no-brainer. That's like just what happened to me and Penny right now. Where it was 1 week. We've been working on this lady for 2 weeks with her Medicaid status and everything like that. And It's been called back and forth. We've done, I think, 2 or 3 scopes already.
Mm-hmm.
And she came time, she heard from Medicaid, and they said the next time she'll be able to requalify because she's just SLMB. She's not SLMB plus, which she needs to be for some of the DSNPs in her area.
Mm-hmm.
They said they can reconsider in December for a January 1st effective date. This is the next time she can apply to get more benefits. And in the meantime, she went to her psychiatrist and she got a bill because the psychiatrist is out of network.
Mm-hmm.
So right when we were doing that, I was kind of helping Penny. We were taking a look together. I said, you know what, just get me on with her real quick. Because I've talked to her before. Just get me on with her. I said, okay. And I get on and I go, look, we're not talking about benefits here. I do not care if your food card, whatever it is, goes from $30 to $40 or from $30 to $400. The matter of the fact is you're getting a bill and you are on state Medicaid. The reason you're getting a bill is because you are going out of network. No food card is going to help you. No dental is going to help you. No transportation is going to help you. The situation that you're in, you need to look at only this company because this is the only company that your psychiatrist takes. If they took a few of them, we could compare, but you have one option. It is this company.
Mm-hmm.
So take it, because if not, you are still going to have your bills. And guess what? No new plans are going to come in for the remainder of the year. So you got 6 more months of this, and you go every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you need right now. And immediately she goes, okay. Does not matter. Okay, just do what you have to do. Get it done.
Right. But could you have done that without building that trust and understanding the
Absolutely
client?
not.
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. I keep on hearing, and this is not just a symptom of like, oh, well, people just don't know any better. This is a pervasive problem that has been reinforced through really, really, really just bad management and bad leaderships on sales floors and reinforcing and restating the same garbage over and over again. Managing the KPIs, more dials equals dollars. It's a numbers game. You know what? Yeah, everything is a numbers game, but if you're looking at the wrong numbers, you're going to lose the game, right? So what do? They want to shortcut it, just like you said. And then you can't get anyone to make a decision, or if they do this, not cemented. I mean, it's you have to be interested in someone to be interesting to somebody, right? And if you're interesting to somebody, they're going to want to take and they're going to start trusting you. And once they trust you, they will take your direction. Sales is just a manifestation of a one-on-one leadership position. You're leading them to a conclusion that's better for them. And leaders don't choose their people usually. People choose their leaders. You got to demonstrate that you can lead them and you have their best interest at heart. You're not going to do that by just jumping the gun. You're right on that one. That's a good topic, man.
It's one too. It's not only just that first interaction, but it's every interaction from there. Yesterday, I was able to catch up on some of my anniversary calls because it's just been flooded here. I haven't even had a lot of chance to call my own book or my own people. I got 3 T65 referrals just yesterday. Just from calling people and saying, hey, I love you. They go, I love you too. How you doing? Your voice sounds like terrible. And they go, I know, but my face is still pretty, so we're good. But it's just from doing that, because the people, they trust you and they go, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you checking in on me every year just to make sure I'm in the best spot possible, because other people would just let it ride. They don't care. But from those, you have no idea what type of situation you're going to call into. They could need something extra. They could have their neighbor there with them that needs help. They could have, like the ones I had yesterday, I had a lot of spouses that were turning 65 here the next few months and, hey, put me on the calendar. Let's do this. Let's do that. It's one of those that if you don't have it from the bat, if I just sold you something and I check in with you in a year and I say, hey, Steven, how's it going? You're going to go, it's great. Thanks. All right. Yeah. Well, just keep what you have. I'll call you next year and on your birthday. Hope you have a great one. Okay. Bye. It's 45 seconds.
Right.
Nothing sticks. They don't know who you are. You just helped them one time buy something
Right.
that helps them out.
Right.
So it just falls back to, and I think in every single video we've ever done, I've just preached it. Be a human first, not a script, not a closing scenario, not a tagline, or not something cheesy from a sales book. If you be yourself, people can see you, and they want to get help from you, not from an Aetna Plan G or a Mutual of Omaha Plan G. They're not buying that; they're buying you.
Well, and a lot of that though comes from the value proposition that what people believe to be value propositions, right? I say value proposition because it's an industry standard, but really it's just values, period. Because I see a lot of people, they genuinely want to help people, but they think it's about like, oh, this one has a $25 copay, this one has a 30. What are you talking about? You're starting to don't spit out. We were talking about dental the other day, and like your life experience through dental and the need for that is vastly different than most people, right? Vastly. Nothing out there will ever suit the needs that you've needed for dental plans, ever. It's harder to make you a connection on what the value is. Someone that just needs 2 cleanings a year, most of them are great, right? That's a different proposition altogether. Same thing with life insurance. What is the value that we're trying to sell? Are people intrinsically afraid of ending up in a pauper's grave? Not really. Most people know they're going to be dead. They don't care. Really, 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 really have value in how their loved ones are going to be left and what the last thoughts of them on this earth will end up being. There's a lot of stuff in there, and you don't fed out what those values for that individual are without taking the time you're talking about, right? You just don't. So yeah, when people are like, that's fast. Oh, and another thing, how many times we've seen, guys, Brad Jenkins, also another long-standing, hugely successful agent, and also did training for us for a long time, still does training today. So, wow, we were just getting the dream team in here today. It's fantastic.
We're talking about training stuff.
You guys are talking about some good stuff. I couldn't agree more with what you're talking about, Jacob. And that relationship, they will remember you, the plan, everything. You're right. They don't care about that. They don't know who they got. I mean, if you have a really good relationship, they'll know about it. But I just had one today. I talk to clients. I hit this button, people pop up, and they're asking me things about me that we talked about before. I even forgot we talked about. It's, and when you get to that point, when you're their friend, they'll do anything. I mean, they trust you. I had a referral come in to me today. He hasn't called yet, but she switched to an Advantage plan 1.5 years ago. And she has a friend, T65, looking for a supplement. And she's referring me. She's not referring the guy that sold her the Advantage plan. We've had a relationship over the years, and at the time, we didn't do anything. But, people remember you. I mean, it's just, and we're in that business. I mean, these seniors, they've been screwed over by people their whole life. They know every type of BS line out there. You cannot fool them. It's the type of thing that you need to talk about, small talk. What's important to them. Grandkids are huge, their kids are huge. And that's always a great segue into the life insurance thing, because grandkids are their life. They get to relive their childhood. It's a beautiful thing.
I think me and Christine made a really good example yesterday after 5 o'clock with that dental plan that we did, because we were looking. We can talk about companies, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay. We were looking
Just try to keep the swearing down and don't use any customer names.
We were looking at Sigma's Dental, their flexible choice, and how many options that there were, because there's 6 different options for whatever benefit level you have, depending upon $100 deductible, $50, $0, lessening deductible, disappearing deductible. Then you have the full preventative. You have the one that goes up over time. The lady we were talking to she's had dental coverage for a year. So she knows she's going to need some major stuff done. She just hasn't got it done yet.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily we can waive that waiting period. So it starts for her. But In her eyes, the difference between a preventative, one that grows with the preventative instead of being covered 100% at $100 deductible, is more valuable to her than having a $57 with full preventative and a $0 deductible. Because in her eyes, she goes, look, I'm not going to use the preventative. I'm not worried about teeth cleaning. I can pay for that. I need help with a crown
Right now.
that I might need.
Mhm.
This is what I need help with. And that's what I told her too. I was like, look, you have an option. You can pick 100% preventative. If I were you, it's not worth it to me because that's not what you're going to use it for.
That's right.
You're using it for the major coverage. Now, as well, the difference between the $100 deductible and $0 deductible was like $12 a month. So she would actually end up paying $20 more in order to have no deductible for the year.
Right.
Than just have the deductible. And just went over that with her. And I go, look, so this is what's best going to suit you in your situation right now at this moment. You need the 60% preventative that will go up over time so you can get your teeth clean. They'll help you out. But your major starts right away. They waive the waiting period, and all you have is a $100 deductible because it's going to be cheaper than not having one.
Mhm.
And it's $10 less than what the other one was. That was full preventative. It's $47. That is what's going to fit you the best. And again, she just goes, okay, and when can we start this? I go, today. She goes, okay. So, all right, I'll grab Christine. We'll get this knocked out here.
Yeah, good job. I mean, what you don't want to do is give them too many options. You know, you're the agent, you're the one that you're the expert. Narrow it down, find out what's important to them, and just work with that. You know, especially with med subs, you know, go down and say, well, this one's this much, that one's that much. You know,
And what we see with a lot of the newer guys that start, though, they think it's about the features. And it's not about the conversation. You guys have been here for years. You've been here since the beginning of the year. Just in this past several months, how many people have we seen come in that started off real strong and flared out?
A few.
Right.
Yeah.
We won't go into those names.
Right.
But one of the things we've seen is the most dangerous thing. It could be great, but it's usually damaging. Immediate success without any concept or perception of what's actually working. Because immediately what happens is, I sold 5, I sold 7, I sold 3 in a day, like first day, right? And then because they don't know what they're doing, they're heavily on script. The script is a script, right? It's a guide stone, it's a guideline. It's not strictly adhered to because we want development and growth on it. That's how it became what it is. But at the same time, because you don't know any perspective, since you're following it, you're covering all those bases and you're allowing for that development of the conversation. Well, when they go, I don't need any of this, and then there's none of that there, they're just immediately like, let's get to the point. It's just my natural God-given talent to be able to close this. Next thing you know, next week, 0.
And the week after that,
0. Oh, it must be the leads. It must be the leads. Oh my God, it has to be the leads. You know, sometimes you get bad lead days. Sometimes you get a bad lead week or a phone system broke. Something happens, right? But you have that consistent issue, and it's always this. It's like you were saying earlier. They think they know everything. So when you go, well, you should probably slow down your conversations a little bit. You're making a whole hell of a lot of dials. Are you even leaving voicemails? What kind of voicemails are you leaving? Are you letting I used you as a good example in one of those cases. I go, you see this? Steven has less calls than you, but his average time on call is about twice yours. And lo and behold, he has double the numbers of you. Well, you know, when you get into a sale, you're doing it. Well, when I'm looking at it and we do the aggregate from 0 to, when you look at the aggregate from 0 to an hour and a half or 2 hours or however long it is, and it goes your average time on good talk times, which is over 90 seconds, means you're not leaving a voicemail. This guy's sitting at 3 minutes. You were sitting at 8 to 15. You're engaging those conversations and conversations that aren't just based off of aggregating information. You're having a better result. And lo and behold, you are still here.
Mm-hmm.
But the other person's answer is, can't be me. It's got to be leads. I was awesome. Well, you were. When you didn't know anything, you were actually better than when you got a little knowledge. A little knowledge is very dangerous, especially if you don't know how to apply it. But that's the thing. The facts and figures are sexy to us because we can get those down pat real quick. The conversation and the human component that you got to explore that at every conversation. It's a little bit different. So I don't know, man. I mean, that's a hard question to ask. How do you get someone how do you get someone past that bump of the either 2 or 3 week bump, or in some cases 2-month bump of thinking they got it down and then just completely, self-immolating themselves and not listening?
Stop selling.
Well, yeah, that's step one. Always stop selling.
Yeah, stop selling and start engaging. I mean, people, well, you know how it goes. You're having a great day, you're selling.
Mhm.
You can't shut it off. You're selling everything you
just keep
touch.
talking.
You're just talking to people. You're not trying to sell. You're not desperate.
Mhm.
You haven't sold for 2 weeks. You're extremely desperate for a sale. And it's just natural. You're going to try to sell them instead of engaging the client, trying to create the relationship. It's, these birthday calls are great because you call, happy birthday, and people, oh, thanks, then you start talking to them. And you wind up being on the phone for 20 minutes and you're just talking about their stuff, and then you can work in, it's easy to work things into a sale, build up, have segues, but it's an art to try to not be a salesperson, to be a consultant, to be a person, to be somebody you can talk to. That's where the real art comes in, because if they smell you're trying to sell them something, you're done. That's it. Especially this day and age when you have people calling them 20, 30 times a day trying to sell them something, and you're the one guy that just wants to talk to them, you're going to stand out and you're going to get the sale. But you have to slow down, and that's what it is. You just have to slow down, go through the process. They have the time, generally, unless they're on the way to a doctor's appointment. They have the time. How many times have you gotten on the phone, people say, oh, I'm on my way out the door, I've only got 20 seconds to talk, and 45 minutes later, you're still on the phone with them, and then you're writing up a deal.
Well, that's also one of the things. I only have this is really important. I can't do it in 45 seconds, so you can just give me a call back, or I'll call you back, whatever one's going to be. What's it about then? Well, it's not 25 seconds. That's what it's about. That's kind of the thing. That's when you go, I'm not selling. They go, well, I really didn't know about this. I wasn't really heading out the door. Let's go ahead and get talking about this. One of the funny things is looking back, where you just said was real true. It's like, you get on a roll and, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing is working because you're just in the mindset. I remember a big turning point for me, because I started real fast and it climbed up, but like the levels of proficiency on the phone where you remember everyone else would be making $50, $60 a day. I'd be making like 15 and still getting 3 or 4 sales, because I wasn't, you could say, oh, because really it's just kind of an attitude and perspective. If I'm already walking in before I woke up this morning or any morning, I'm already a 6-figure agent because of my renewals. There's not a whole lot of pressure to force an issue. And then people pick up on it. They're like, dude, I really want to go with this guy. He is not worried about making a sale, right? And it's just one of those things, and we try to teach it to people. And to varying degrees of success, it works, which is, you need to commit to the fact that the sale is going to happen right now. And it is a foregone conclusion that this sale is going to occur before that other person's even on the phone. They pick up the phone, it's sale. Problem is that sometimes the pendulum goes the wrong way, right? It's a sale, so I don't have to do my job. Ooh, so it's one of those things where if we can get people, and you can get an agent, if you're in a producing floor like we have, you can get an agent through their first year, then they will forever be a 6-figure agent after that. That's just how much we sell, right? But at the same time, that first few weeks, and you just hit the nail on the head, man. How do you get someone over the factor? Really gets you is like when they know everything. Mm-hmm. And really, you just you can't sit there and smash them like, no, you don't. What about this? No, because that deflates them. And then you have someone that's just gun shy. I don't know.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Medicare Advantage plans. So these are managed care plans. So when companies are saying, these are different plans, we offer different benefits. These plans, they're not different at all.
No.
They're all identical. They provide the same exact service from one another. It's just that some companies allocate more funds for this particular benefit while the other one does it for a different benefit. But they all provide the same services. They're all the same thing. So when a new agent comes on the phone and they think, okay, we're talking to Medicare Advantage plans, they're probably thinking cost. Let me try and offer what is going to be the cost efficient plan for them, what's going to give them the most money. And then they say, well, I'm going to stay where I'm at. And a lot of these agents are like, I don't get it. Why? I followed this script. I offered them the plan. This plan was a better plan. And they decided to stay where they're at. And the first thing that you tell them is, well, how long did you spend time with them? Oh, it was 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, 15,
we had everything ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, even though that the situation may be different for someone who's on a Medicare supplement plan, these people are still human beings. And so what you need to do is, going back to what Jacob said, is that you need to find their concern. And the only way to find a concern is you got to let them know that they need to trust you. And the only way to do that is to have a conversation with them. And a lot of these agents come in and with those clients that are talking to all these different people that are trying to bombard them with sales and costs, no one is taking the time to talk to these people. Like, just to give an example, yesterday, I talked to a guy and you heard me on the phone. The guy was on a better plan than what I had to offer him. Mm-hmm. He was on a better plan. And I said to him, look, I'm looking at these two plans. One that you have, and I've been on the phone with this guy for 45 minutes. We're chatting about the situation. I mean, he's trusting what I'm telling him. And I said to him, look, I'm going to be honest with you. The plan that you're on is a better plan for you. But the plan that I'm offering you is going to give you the benefits that you need right now. You have dental that you need, has a little bit of better dental, go get and he trusted me because I'm not trying to offer cost. I'm trying to offer what his concern was, which was his situation that needed to be handled in the way that is what was his dental or whatever it was, but it was his personal concern.
Yeah.
And so, just to go back to what we were talking about, agents forget that when they're talking about Medicare Advantage plans. They forget it because on the other side, they're impatient, they're cranky, they haven't been talking to anybody. And a lot of times these agents will say, well, let me save you some money. Oh, I can help you save some money. And they're like, that is the 40th time I've heard that.
I don't care about saving money.
And I don't care about saving money.
I don't care.
I don't care. I know what I'm doing. So the script does help, but going back to what you were talking about earlier about building rapport and thinking you know everything, you may have had a run with those, just give me what I want. And then you're like, okay, I'll give you what you want. And it worked, But you can't do that. That's not the mindset if you're going to be successful. You have to understand that they are human beings, that they are concerned, and there is a reason we are talking to this person on the phone. There is a reason.
Yes. Well, I mean, giving them you got to be clear on that, though. Giving them what they want is exactly what you want to do, but you have to make them realize, and you have to discover what they really want. See, when people go, well, there's lowest price. Well, that's a differentiation of values. Mm-hmm. And people don't even understand what values are, family values, core values. Values are not just like these nebulous contexts. They are what you value most, what holds the most weight with you as an individual. We're not looking at price. Like you just said, you need dental right now. You have something better right now for this other stuff, but you're not even concerned about his value that he perceived isn't in the fact that he was on it. I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is an HMO. He's on a PPO. Your concept of what your risk assessment is like, me personally, I want the freedom to go to the doctor. That other plan has a better value. This guy doesn't care about that for the next 6 months. He cares about getting his teeth done.
Yeah.
His values are completely opposed to that.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't care about the other stuff. He doesn't care about price. He doesn't care about doctor availability. By the way, his doctor was on the new plan.
Correct.
Right? So all of that stuff happens. So he sees value in getting this extra service, whether it be food card, whatever it is. And now the problem is that people fall for the most common trap in the world. We fell for it in supplements. We fall for it in Advantage plans. Someone calls in and goes, I'm looking at this plan and this one, and I want this one for this price. And everyone goes, okay. And then lo and behold, they don't sell it. They want to think about it more. Because you're not exploring what these people's values are. You're not converting them from a shopper and a thinker about it to someone that's placing an order for this thing or service. Mm-hmm. Screw price. It doesn't matter. Oh, what's the price of it? Well, it's this much. Well, what's the price of this other one? Doesn't matter. That other thing doesn't do the thing that you need.
Right.
So why are you bringing that up? I mean,
Yeah.
you know how many times that works so well. Oh, well, what about AARP's HMO? What does it matter? It doesn't do what you want it to.
Right.
Oh yeah. Right. Let's go with this other one.
That's the question to ask. That's what I ask everybody. That's like, when they call in, they're like, I want this. And you're like, okay,
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you want it?
Yeah.
well, my husband has AARP and he likes his AARP. And I say, okay, that might be best for him.
Right.
But we don't know for you. So
Right.
you can't just assume that because he knows what it is, it's going to be the best thing.
So let's talk about you. What keeps you up at night?
That why is a great
Dogs.
question.
It is.
Apparently torn ACLs.
Why do you want to leave your old company? They'll tell you, they'll give you all the ammo that you need right there with that one simple word.
Right.
Yeah, and to add on to that too, is that how many times have you had this or heard it or experienced it where you're having conversations with them and all of a sudden you start getting into the why, you start to learn new information about this client that you did not know before.
Right.
Because now you're asking the right questions and they start to trust you. And now you are getting more buy-in, but now they understand, okay, this person cares about what's going on with me. They're asking the right questions and I haven't even thought about it. So now we're having a real conversation.
Well, and there's another concept on this too. When you start hearing people go through their whys and their complaints and their concerns, issues, values, all this other good stuff, right? What they're doing is they're giving you a purchase order.
Mhm.
That's it. They are placing an order. And if you reiterate to them, because they're actualizing what they want, they go, well, I really want to go do this. And I hate it when this happens. So I go, well, if you want to do this, you need to do this. And you also never want that to happen again. It is X and it
Right.
costs that much. Please step up to the window, right?
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You know, no one goes back when you order a hamburger, go, well, you know what? How much without the pickles? No, you ordered pickles, you wanted pickles. That's what you got, extra pickles.
Right.
And that's the thing. We keep on talking about these things like it's a very difficult concept because we have made it difficult. Because we keep on wanting these one little solutions that mean I just get to spend a little less time and try to force more into an 8-hour day or a 12-hour day or a 10-hour day. I know a lot of individual agents out there, they're working 14 hours a day just trying to make ends meet.
Mhm.
And they're just doing the same thing over and over again. Well, I sat, God bless him, great guy. I sat there and watched a man go through the most confusing explanation of what QMB is. And said, this is what I show my clients. And goes through and writes that, well, if you're under $1,100, you do this and this, and you get this. And I looked at it, and I had some other agents around me. I go, you know, this is all great and this is all accurate. Picked up the thing he was writing on to explain it to them. I go, just show this to a client right away. And are they going to buy anything? Deep down in your heart, tell me that. And they went, no. I go, exactly. What they're trying to do, we all want to demonstrate the next cool thing that makes us special and makes us like quick. When it's just what you're saying. Find out why they're still on the phone with you. They haven't hung up in 10 seconds. They got something they're looking for, right? And it's not something that's tangible. It's not a lower out of network fee. It's not a $20 food card. It's something real. And it's something they haven't even articulated yet because they haven't told anyone else. They haven't even thought about it until you ask them.
I still think the best feeling in this industry is whenever those people tell you when you're going through everything, they go, I don't care what it is.
I want it.
Just put me in what you think is best for me.
Right.
Yeah. Because then you know at that point you have earned every ounce of trust that they have.
Mhm.
It happened with that Gary guy a few weeks ago. He goes, I talked to Frank, I'm talking to you too. Look, you're the expert here. Just put me in something that you think is going to be best for me and something that I don't want to worry about it because I don't like checking on stuff.
Right. That's right.
So I was like,
Captain, my
I
captain,
was
let's
like,
automate
I was
this.
like, Philadelphia American, here we
Yeah.
come.
Woo! All right.
Angie. But that's really the what all of us are chasing in this profession. We are chasing the point to where somebody goes, whatever your honest recommendation is, just sign me up. Because you know you've shown your value, you've shown your expertise, you've shown that you care. You've done everything possible to earn this person as a client. And at this point, They just want you.
True. But
That's not-
how do you get to that point is the question, because everyone should know that at a core concept, but people
Mhm.
think that knowing facts and figures and ins and outs and little tricks and stuff like that and constantly spewing those out at people is building value in that person's eyes. And it's just not. It is absolutely not. Do you think that going over what a Part B excess charge is and what occurrences those can happen and how you're going to get billed on them is really going to make you seem any more credible in any or the vast majority of people? No. You're spitting out a mundane fact. You're Cliff Clavening them.
Cheers reference. Wow.
Cheers, right? Bringing it back old school, man. By the way, I don't give a shit about what Cliff Clavin thought. They're like, oh yeah, that's great, Cliff. Go back to delivering mail, right?
Luckily, we get copyrighted if we exit on the Cheers theme song.
Oh, that'd be so great.
So we can all just sing. Sometimes you want to go where
Everybody knows your name.
Dun, 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 dun.
And they're always I know that whole song.
Just a change of voice.
Oh man.
But it's true. People love facts and they love writing stuff on paper.
They love
that
saying facts. They don't like hearing them.
that they can just spit out to make themselves seem smarter, and people don't care.
They think
Well,
it's
they
building
didn't
value.
ask you about
Yeah, they didn't ask
it. And just do it. There's a danger in being too smooth. I mean, we do this all day long. We get very smooth at what we do. And if you're talking too smooth, it's salesy. You look at people, we've had people here in the past, they screw things up, they mumble, and they're not that articulate, and it takes them a while to get the word out. But what happens is people listen, it draws them in.
Mhm.
If you're too articulate,
Yeah.
too smooth, it's like, okay, we got another smooth lipper on the phone here, honey,
Yeah.
How can we get him out?
I don't laugh at myself because I didn't do that yesterday. I did actually the exact opposite. One of the tips and tricks when I first started here that you gave me that I still religiously use to this day is to make noises when you're doing something on the
Yes.
computer. So what I'll do, majority of it, I'll just talk to myself. when I'm
Yes.
doing it. So I was talking
Mumble.
to a
Oh,
lady.
yeah.
I was talking to a lady yesterday. It's like I work with quite a bit, and we were looking at her plan G, just looking at premium payments. She just got a rate increase, and so I went in and go, okay, yeah, let's see. And your husband here, okay, so we'll get household discount. Let me just go look at this real quick. I remember I went and typed in mutual, and I click household discount, quote, and I see it, and I go, now that's good. And she goes, what?
Of
And
nothing.
I go, oh, sorry. And she goes, are you just talking to yourself? And I go, yeah, sometimes I do that when I'm on the phone. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's very quick thinking. And she goes, no, that means subconsciously that you're
real.
like, wow. Subconsciously you're like, wow, that
Real.
looks really good. And I'm like, well, yeah. She goes, well, what is it? And I go, well, I have to verify it. Let me check and see. But it wasn't like the sales thing where it's like,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bait her into be like, oh, this is good. It's subconsciously like, okay, here's your zip code, date of birth. They're doing the household discount. Let's see, get quote. Oh, that's good.
And by the way, the whole point of that was it's like back in the day, people would mute their microphone, be like, well, I don't want them to hear me talk and mumbling to myself. Like, why not?
Right.
This is a
Yeah,
complicated
nothing
thing
worse
that
than
we
dead
do.
airspace.
By the way, sometimes you got to, one of the things I found that was a really hard lesson for me because we kept on getting our technology advancing to where we can pull in like 3 seconds what takes other agents 15, 20 minutes to do from all the carriers. We're like, boop. Well, what happens when it becomes too easy for the human experience and they don't think it's genuine?
Yeah.
No. So I get to take the extra time and go, okay, what are the conditions of the household discount? It allowed me to, but I still do that. And other than, well, please hold, let me get it. Okay, it's all back. Well, that took 10 seconds and
Yeah.
therefore it has no value to me. I could do that myself. Let me go try to do that myself. And then we hear from them back 3 weeks later going, I couldn't do it.
There's nothing worse than filling out an application and not talking to the client because you're missing important information that you're supposed to be communicating. I've always said, use the application as your talking point.
Yeah.
Go through there and expound on things. Are you on Medicaid for medical assistance, and go through the if you don't have anything to talk about, the application has plenty of things in there.
Oh, yeah. People
don't-
look at reading statements like a bad thing. I'm like, no, we got to slow it down. This
Yeah,
is really
and
complicated.
we're supposed to be doing that anyway,
Right.
and it keeps the conversation flowing, and it might turn up something that you didn't know that's important that may disqualify them.
Why do you
know?
think we put a prepared statement in our own script? It's because it's officially sounding and it doesn't convey real information, and it's important, great things about the things that are about to happen to you.
And they all ask that question.
They love it. And they all, I don't have those objections because I've already answered them. Right. But also there's another flip side of that, because we've seen that go a little bit too far too on the, letting them understand your process by hearing you mumble or make noise. Just for the edification of everyone out there, that doesn't mean like keep them on the line. And as you already like have prices, just spend 5 minutes going, I like ham, and just singing like a Barbie girl song or something. Don't do any of that stuff. It's not there for theater. It's there to allow people to understand that there's a human being thinking about things on here. And that if you discover something, I mean, it's okay to be on there and see a quote and you go, what on earth is Balonial pen thinking charging that much? Well, how much? Don't worry about it. It's expensive, and that's those are the things out there, right? So, and that's the crazy thing about it, right? Some people they want to be so professional. They want to be so professional. It just drives me nuts.
That's what happened with that lady I was talking about. That me and Penny just helped with the Advantage plan, where her psychiatrist wasn't taking the doctor. And Penny put herself on mute to talk to me. And I was like, take yourself off mute. I was like, I've already talked to this person. They know who I am. They know who you are. They know we sit right beside each other. Just tell them, hey, I want to get Jacob's opinion on something real quick.
It's okay for them to hear the conversation.
Yeah, I'm not going to mute myself just so you can kind of hear both of us. And at the end of it, after like 2 minutes of talking back and forth with Penny, the lady was like, I can't really hear Jacob. Can you bring him up? Like, okay, yeah.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, it's so important because
They want to know what's
this day
going
and age,
on.
you can
Right.
be in a different state.
Yeah.
Let me transfer you over to my agent. Is the agent right there, or is he, in a different state somewhere? I mean, they're so used to that.
There's a reason why cooking shows are so popular. I might not want to know all the ingredients going into the sausage, but I sure love watching it being cooked.
Or Guy Fieri.
Oh, don't go into that. That's just, I don't know. I don't know how
Hey, don't talk bad about him.
That man is a saint.
He does a lot of good work in this
One of America's
country.
assets. Right next to the other two things that America has done right. What's the first one? The Marine Corps.
First one's a Marine Corps, second one's
Medicare.
Medicare.
It's Medicare. Third one, Guy Fieri.
That's how far we've gone down. That's how far
I
we've
learned to cook
dropped.
from the Frugal Gourmet.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But it's
Wow.
It goes way back.
yes, it's the same thing. People want to know what's going on. And have I been snake bitten sometimes from what I say in my head and say it on the phone? Yeah.
It's okay. You're a person.
I have before, just because I'm not playing what's the next step. I'm playing the step after that. Like I had a lady where we're trying to do something to where she can qualify right now for a plan that's interstate, that's open enrollment year round. But I'm not just planning for, this rating fees. I'm planning for the next 2 years where we need to look once you get past your treatment dates, once you get everything like that. And I remember this was just a few days ago. I said something like the word, as I was kind of muttering to myself, I said like hybrid. I was like, we could do like a hybrid thing between like this company, and then once we get to the deadline or past the 2 year mark, we can go look at this company. And for some reason, that word stuck with her. She's like, "What's this hybrid? What's this hybrid thing?" And I go, "No, that's just something I was talking to myself about. I just happened to say it out loud." And it goes down to it, and it's like, "Okay, so is this a plan G or is this a hybrid plan?" And I go, "You should shut up and not say anything." But yeah, sometimes you have to catch yourself with it. It's not going to be perfect, but that's what people love.
Right.
Genuine.
Right.
They want to know what's going on. That's it. They want to know who they work with, how they think, and make sure that they're just going to feel taken care of.
I mean, this has been a recurring example on our floor forever, but when people have gone through medical issues, especially, one of the problems we run into is like a lot of us, a lot of younger folks that we hire have never gone through some medical stuff, man. I mean, it's like, oh, well, one time I had like to take penicillin. I'm like, no, it can go bad real quick. Wait till you're in a hospital getting surgery done, man.
used to have a bottle of amoxicillin in my parents' fridge for the time I was 2 till I was 13.
Right.
This is how I still cannot take liquid medicine.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
that's also one of the things that really makes you in your connection with these people is really because you're like, no. I know I'm young. Trust me, I've been there.
I'm like, believe me, I've been there where the anesthesiologist, where they put that in me, and I'm still open when they start cutting me out.
Yeah, it's not fun because
They're
you built
like,
some
how's he
tolerance.
awake? And I'm like, guys, I'm like 16 now. This is like my 13th one. I'm like,
Right.
do you want me to do it? Like they used to freak out because I took my own stitches out from the age 12 and on.
Right.
And I would clean up the area so we wouldn't have to go back from Temple to Dallas.
Right.
So my parents wouldn't have to drive up there just for them to take the stitches out and say, oh yeah, it looks great. I'd be like, no, just do it at home.
Mhm.
Like grab my dad's case knife and just get the magnifying glass in the mirror and just go. Just
Get it.
take every stitch out individually. Get the tweezers, pull them out, and then hydrogen peroxide, Neosporin, bandage, done.
Yep. Basically cleaned up a field dressing inside of your own
Yeah.
nose.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but that's the thing, that experience and that leads to like an association that you don't even have to tell people that's what you went through. They're like, I get it. But the
Mhm.
problem that we encounter is that a lot of people that don't have that kind of exposure, they don't really know what fear is. They don't know what they're trying to resolve or trying to prevent the client from going through. You know, it's really hard for them to make that association. You know, how can you talk about when shit goes bad when you ain't had no shit? Right? I mean, really, that's one of the things that is hard for them. So they focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Third-party references.
I'd say personal references. I still tell people on Advantage plans, and we're doing T65 or just Part B enrollments stuff about how they work. I'm still getting back from my green sauce incident. I just got another bill from the gastroenterologist.
Mm-hmm.
That was 5 months ago. 5 months ago. I think it's an EOB. I have to call the company. But that is the
Does it
fifth
say this
bill.
is not a bill on it?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it says you may owe.
Then that is a bill.
I've gotten 5 bills from one test at a gastroenterologist back in January. And I tell people on
Yeah.
Advantage plans, is this what you want to have to deal with?
Question. Green sauce still worth it.
Still worth it.
The green sauce is still worth it.
I would
Okay.
do it again in a heartbeat. Put it
What-
on some. If anybody here smokes meats like me and Brad do, use it as a binder. Just a little test, a little jalapeno green sauce. Use it as a binder, not mustard.
It's really good. I mean, just to get weird with it, I put it on that granola bar one day. I was
Yeah,
like, I can
put it
still
on
eat
the
this.
granola bar.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic. I don't even like granola. I was just like, it's something to put it on because, you know, you get a little dab on your finger.
Yeah, just try it. You're like, oh, it tastes good. But use your own references. Brad, I use Brad as a reference. I'm like, we got a guy here who's 67 who's got a Plan G. Do you want to ask him how he likes it?
All
I
right.
mean, you don't use it.
Or
So
Nick
I
back
use
in the
my
day.
own stories all the
Yeah.
time. I always said, say something about yourself. Your own. I mean, that's great. You're using your own story. You know, they'll ask you. You'd be surprised how concerned these people are about you. You know, how
Yes.
you doing? You know, how's your mom doing? You know, I mean, talk about yourself. This is a relationship here. You know, it's not a one-sided deal. You know, your own personal experiences. You know, I'm having cataract surgery in August. I'll tell you, I bring that up, and they've got the whole spiel down. I mean, they were actually comforting me because I'm a little bit nervous about this. I don't like surgery, especially people messing with my eye. And you know, they're telling me exactly what's going on. You're gonna love it. You know, they call me back and ask me how it went. You know, I mean, that's you're sitting on the front porch, you're having a conversation with these people. You know, it's the trust factor. You know, and once you start opening up to them, that tells them, okay, I can trust this guy. He's honest with me. He's telling things to me that, you know, he probably shouldn't even tell me. You know, he's just being honest, and you know, and that's what gets them there.
So how do we get better though at actually imparting this stuff and getting it to where our younger and more inexperienced compatriots on the floor can start taking advantage of it without having to go through that? I mean, it can be a very trying time because they can't get into that funk. And like you said at the beginning, they think they know it all, and therefore they're not taking this information like the stuff we're going over right now.
Well, just to start with that, I think a lot of the younger generation feels a
Kind of
disconnect with the older generation.
What about your parents?
Y'all forget that I'm in the younger generation.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
exactly.
But
Your core is made out of nothing but Hank Hill.
yeah, you're Hank Hill, man. You are an
You are
anomaly.
absolutely-
You are an anomaly.
I got my mom the same plan, you know.
Yeah.
This same plan I got my mother.
No, I'm talking about how do we get.
Well, the great
How are you
irony is
gonna
this. Let me
listen?
tell you how it is. The great irony is this. If they talk about themselves,
Right.
if they share their personal experiences, the elder generation loves hearing that because they know that they're a human being. You know, like, yes, talking about your grandparents or talking about, you know, how you interact in the world. They just feel like I have to sell. But no, back it up. Have a conversation with these
Well, yeah,
people.
if you're new, say, look, we've been around a long time. We have a lot of experts in our company. I'm brand new here. And, you know, I'm just starting out. Let me know how I do, you know.
You know what I haven't heard in the last month that drives me nuts sometimes? I haven't heard a single person on the floor right now. And I've heard some people starting to have some struggles, right? I haven't heard a single person on the floor ask what people do for a living or what they did for a living. I'm sorry, did you? You do? Okay. But you're a mentor.
I know. But
You're a mentor, Jacob. Of course that's why you sell so damn much. That's my point, is that
Yeah.
the opportunity to have a conversation, people, even if they hated their job and they're no longer doing it, they like talking about what they did.
Oh, you talk about a conversation booster. Yeah, you bring that up. I have some, I can't get them off.
But you know what I hear when I hear people back go, well, what does that have to do with your It doesn't have anything to do with the product you're about to sell, because you're not selling a product, you're selling yourself. You better be interested in that person so they can start demonstrating interest in you. So, I mean, I'm going to start coaching the guys on the, ask everybody, what do they do for a living? Oh, I'm retired. Well, what you used to do? Oh, I used to be a railroad engineer. We're like, choo choo, that's awesome.
like in your garage or
Right? You know, have the conversation. Oh, I was a nurse for 33 years. Oh, that's amazing. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. But my back hurts now. Wait, you got back damage? Do we need to worry about chiropractic services? Do we need to worry? Is it important that we go and make sure you can go get some back work done, that you can go get that done? Yeah. Tell me more about the thing that you did for your entire career that brought you here, or even if you're on disability, what were you doing before the stuff hit the
Yeah,
fan?
great stories, man.
it's work and food. I tell you,
Great
I get
stories.
anybody that's in Louisiana or Mississippi,
Oh, food.
anywhere
Yes,
like that.
food.
If it just starts, say like if like Tanya calls in, they're like, "Hey Jacob, we've got Tanya here," and I'm like, "Hey Tanya, Jake Crotty, you know, pleasure to meet you here. You know, let me get a little information here. Where are you from?" She'll be like, "Lafayette, Louisiana," and I'll say, "Oh girl, we gonna talk about something before we even get into this here." I travel through Louisiana when I like to. I love Louisiana. It's one of my favorite states to visit here. What is your restaurant recommendation? Because I've got one that I know that's in Lafayette that you've probably been to, but I want to know what your secret restaurant is. What is it? Well, it's the one that's about 10 miles north or whatever. And I go, oh, well, I love Cajun Palace or whatever it is. There's your 30 minutes.
Right. Shared interest. Bam. Done.
Done. All talking about etouffee and boudin and cracklins, everything like that.
That's
just done. All because you just interjected and you have something that can attach to them. They could even say vegan, and I would say, bless your heart.
Bless your.
But I would say,
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Bless your
vegans
heart.
in Louisiana, that's kind of few and far between. But I would say, well, what options are there for you there? Because I know it's a lot of fried food. I know it's a lot of seafood heavy, meat heavy. You know, what type of restaurants do you
Fried
go to?
okra.
What do you have? Yeah. But it's something as simple as that, instead of just getting down to business to get another call done and to potentially half-ass another sale.
Well, you're just doing more of the same activity to get the same bad results if you do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point. Oh, it must be me. I'm sorry. It can't be me. I'm amazing. So I'll just do it harder. Ugh, right. And that's the crux, man. I still don't think we've actually answered the first question of Jacob's, which is how do we get people to break that mold in their mind, not as the individuals on the phone. The individuals on the phone, we got to make a personal connection. We'll have millions of ways of doing that. How do I get that person on the floor right now to go, maybe I shouldn't shortcut this. Maybe I need to get back to basics. Maybe I need to go A/B test this a little bit more. Maybe I should start reading a prepared statement. Maybe I should ask about them. What do they like to do? What are their hobbies? I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
I mean, time will tell. All we can do is just try it.
Well, I mean, again, it's opening the perception. And by the way, it's not just a young people thing. It's not just a young agent thing. It's a lot. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people really advocate scripts, is because at least it might be a crap script, but at least it's a control group.
And it still baffles me that when people first start this off, it's almost how naive you are helps you.
Oh God, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like a little
people
puppy.
that-
No one wants to
people that
beat you
are-
up.
People that are come in and they're fumbling on their words, they might not know how to do an application. They might not know how to put a note in. They might not know any daily deductibles, days 1 through 60, whatever it is. They might not know that. Those people come in and crush it. Why? Because they don't have an agenda and they don't think they know everything.
Right.
You just got to be a little naive. And I think that's what kind of separates us is we are the experts here, but we're not flashing that 15 seconds into the call.
Mm-hmm.
We're not saying from the very beginning, look, we're going to do it my way because I know the way to do it and I'm the expert here. There might be a time and point where you have to bring that up, but from the very beginning, we're going to do it my way and you have an expert. So let me do this. What are your medications?
There's a time to be an expert.
Yeah.
And you can fumble around with the discovery and all that, but when it comes down to things like pronunciation on medications, medical conditions in the questionnaire, you have to know how to say those things. A lot of those people can't pronounce them. If you can pronounce it and know how to say it, they understand, okay, I've got an expert here.
People don't. That's true. But at the same time, if you don't get to the point where you're asking the medical questions or getting to the medication because you've shortcutted all this stuff before that, who cares if you know how to say amyotrophic lateral sclerosis? Who cares at that point?
It
It just gives you a level of,
Who knew?
helps them.
But I mean, no, you're exactly right. They need to use, but part of the point of getting to where you're proficient at that is to get the reps on it. I mean, I back in the day before all this other crazy stuff going, I used to tell people you need to go out and start conversations with strangers, like face to face in an environment, at a restaurant, bar, church, wherever, and just talk to a stranger and find out about their life. Nothing. I don't care if they're a senior, if they're aged, just do that. And then why? Because it's training you to do that with your clients. However you need to engage in conversation is how you do that.
I agree with that. I was listening to a podcast and this guy was talking about his wife and how he was a stand-up comedian, but he's not too social. I mean, he gets on stage, he does everything like that. But he was talking about his wife at an early age. Her dad made her go up to kids that are of the same age and talk, and he would have a little stopwatch. He would time her talking for at least 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, she could come back. And he goes, he did that her entire childhood growing up. And now that person, his wife, can talk to anybody in the world and hold a conversation.
And she's probably worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because he's a stand-up comic and he ain't making nothing.
Yeah. Well, he's famous, but
he's pretty famous now, but that's a long career to get to that point.
But
She carried him.
She carried him.
But that little practice that her dad did set her up for something she didn't even know.
Oh, yeah, that's
Right.
phenomenal. All the old sales books, they'll say, join Toastmasters, get out there where you're just getting out there and you're having a topic and you have to talk about it for a while in front of people, because a lot of people get nervous and they freeze up or whatever, they lose it. And it's training, it's some people are naturally gifted with the gift of gab, and some people aren't, and you have to acquire that.
Here's the thing,
But
though.
it's a wonderful gift.
there's the gift of gab, right? You can have, and not to say any leanings to one way or another, but who would you rather get into a generalized conversation with? Someone like Joe Rogan or Ben Shapiro? Because I'm going to tell you what, I would prefer to talk to someone that would be engaged in an actual conversation rather than a fact debate.
Well, Shapiro's is telling. He's just going
Right.
to spew a bunch of stuff, and that's not a conversation.
Right.
Conversation is listening. You know,
Right.
listening and responding. I mean, there are people that they talk a lot. I was out to a show over the weekend with this lady, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, man, is he ever going to shut up? You know, it's nothing. It's not a conversation.
Yeah.
It's them just talking.
Right.
You know, and that's what you have to avoid. And that's in sales. It's a conversation. It's listening. 2 ears, 1 mouth. We all heard that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to listen to them, find out what's going on, respond, have the conversation like you're paying attention to them. You know,
Or just, not like you are paying attention to them.
but yeah, exactly. But they have to think that you're paying attention.
Yeah.
And that's boy. I mean, we're getting deep here. But in fact, I have to.
Yeah, it's already an hour or two.
That's an hour. Hey, but I just wanted to leave on this and think about this. Are you old enough to remember Doogie Howser, the show?
It sounds familiar.
Okay, then no. You guys
Like
remember
Andy
Doogie
Griffin.
Howser growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the Doogie Howser was Neil Patrick Harris in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Barney Stinson.
Yeah.
Yes, I know who Neil Patrick is. The magician. Not the actor.
Before that, he played a teenager who was a genius and became a doctor. And people go, oh, that was so cool. This kid's a doctor. But really, the entire story was how he constantly was being crapped on for being a bad doctor by everyone around him because he didn't. He was always a matter of, well, we could do this and go through the thoracic nerve and blah, blah, blah. And like his dad would come in and be like, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll just go ahead. I do 100 of these a week.
Didn't
Fine.
we remake that show with the doctor that has that's autistic?
There's a show like that,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was a remake of Doogie
There's not a
Howser.
remake, but it's similar. To
It's
it.
very
Okay.
similar premise.
I've watched that
Yes.
show.
Right.
Yes.
So everyone's like, I don't know about this guy.
Mhm.
And then they're like, well, we just will put you under. You won't know what's happening to you. And then everything turns. But everyone else is like, the old deal on that was that constantly Doogie Howser is getting shown up by other doctors that were less capable of him in the practice of medicine, but were far more confident in their approach because at the end of the day, he was still a 14-year-old kid.
Mhm.
Right? And that wasn't because everyone could look at him and go, 14 years old, you must be a super genius. But they go, what are you trying to prove, kid? Why aren't you really talking to me? You just came in with a chart and talked about a bunch of symptoms. Your literal dad over here just came in and found out I had lead poisoning because I'm using my grandmother's silverware or using my grandmother's flatware. Wow. Good job. And that was like a recurring theme on that. And that's what I kind of see nowadays is a bunch of Doogie Howsers going out there just going, well, in this case, if you want to go with PPO Regimo, blah, 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 and people aren't picking up on it.
I used to tell my kids, you better move out now while you still know everything, because that's not going to last.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, go if you want to know more, if you want to learn more about what we're doing here and how we can help you, go to Insurasales.com. Also, while you're at Insurasales, sign up for InsuraLink. It is a free service that we are providing to agents nationwide that want to actually get together with other actual agents, not recruiters, not carriers, none of that stuff, and discuss sales topics and actually help each other and grow as a team. So, again, this is Frank Bryant. This has been Steven. This has been Jacob. And this has been the great Brad Jenkins. And we're out.
Yeah. Become an Insurafluencer like us.
That sounds like it's contagious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not COVID though.
Okay.
All right, y'all.
And demonetized. All right.